Welcome. We will conduct a decision-making exercise today. You will have an opportunity to earn some extra money by engaging in this exercise. Before we begin, there are a few things we would like you to keep in mind. Please watch carefully and take note of all instructions in this video. Following these instructions carefully might improve your chances of earning more money. Please focus on this decision exercise. Please refrain from doing other activities during the exercise so that you're not distracted. Know that you will be playing in a group together with 3 other real people who also accepted to participate in this exercise. It is therefore very important that you complete the exercise until the end without interruptions. During the exercise, please never click go back or reload button. This can disrupt the exercise. Also, please do not close this window or leave these exercise web pages in any other way. If you do close your browser or leave the exercise, you will not be able to re-enter the exercise and we will not be able to pay you. Including the time for watching the video instructions, the whole exercise would take about 45 to 50 minutes to complete. Now, the money you can make from this exercise is as follows. You can earn $1 for watching the video instructions and taking short quizzes. You can also earn a bonus of $2 by completing the exercise until the end without interruptions. In addition, you can earn more, up to an extra of $14 by making decisions. This extra money you will be paid depends on the tokens you will collect for making these decisions. The more tokens you earn, the more money you will be paid at the end of the decision exercise. Each token is worth 5 cents. You will participate in this exercise as part of a group of 4 participants. Your group has been formed by randomly assigning you to 3 other participants. This means that the amount of money you will earn will depend on the decisions made by you and the 3 other members of your group. Finally, you will not know who those other persons are, and they will not know who you are. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the exercise. This exercise mimics decisions that people make in public water supply systems. The basic model of the decision exercise is as follows. There's a public water supply system that provides water to homes in an area. There are 2 types of participants that make decisions on this water supply system, a provider and 3 users. The provider can invest in the maintenance of the system performance. The provider also collects fees from the users who use the system. Users can consume water delivered by the system for basic necessities such as drinking, cooking, and sanitation, which affects their benefit. Note that the benefit users derive from the public water supply system depends on the system performance. The performance of the system, in turn, depends on the provider's investment in the system maintenance. Now, note that some time ago, an unexpected event happened in the area. This event introduced unpredictable fluctuations in the performance of the public water supply system. More specifically, at the beginning of each round, each user is given 10 tokens. Users have 2 options on how to use these 10 tokens. First, users can pay the 10 tokens as fees to the provider and use the public water supply system as is, despite fluctuations in the system performance. This means that the benefit or earnings users derive from the system also fluctuates. Second, users can use the tokens to exit or leave the area and use a different public water supply system elsewhere. This different public water supply system does not experience fluctuations in performance, and so the benefit that the exited user derives is fixed. On the other hand, the provider collects fees paid by the users and decides how much to invest in the maintenance of the public water supply system in the area. The provider has 2 options on this. The provider can invest 15 tokens in the maintenance or invest 5 tokens in the maintenance. Choosing invest 15 tokens can lead to better system performance compared to choosing invest 5 tokens. The provider's earnings in a round is the tokens remaining after the investment tokens are subtracted from the collected fees. Note that you and 3 other players will play the situation just described multiple rounds throughout this decision exercise. There are 4 players in a single group, 3 users that can use the public water supply, and 1 provider that can maintain the system. In this exercise, you will randomly be assigned to one of these 4 players. Your role will not be changed during the entire exercise. As the consequence of the decisions made by you and 3 other players, and the fluctuations in the system performance introduced by an unexpected event, 2 outcomes are possible in each round. When the provider chooses invest 15 tokens and 2 or more users choose pay, the system performance will vary from round to round between 60% and 100%. That is, the actual system performance can be anywhere between a lower limit of 60% and an upper limit of 100%. Thus, in this case, the corresponding net benefit users obtain will also vary from round to round between 7 tokens and 15 tokens. This is because the circumstances force users to spend time and energy to complement the public supply by purchasing water from alternative private sources. This may include bottled water or water tanker deliveries. This additional expense of the user's time and energy reduces their benefit. Otherwise, the system performance is at 50% or below. In this case, because the system performance is lower, users have to rely more heavily on alternative private sources to complement the public supply. As such, users' net benefit is also lower, which is 5 tokens. For example, this happens when the provider chooses invest 15 tokens, but only 1 or 0 users choose pay, or the provider chooses invest 5 tokens. In summary, at the beginning of each round, each user is endowed with 10 tokens. Each user then decides what to do with this endowment between 2 options, exit and pay. First, if a user decides to use the tokens to exit the area and consume water from a different public water supply system, the user will obtain a fixed net benefit of 10 tokens. The obtained benefit is fixed in this case because the different public water supply system, which is located elsewhere, does not experience fluctuations in performance. Second, if a user decides to pay the provider and use the water as is, there are 2 possible outcomes. When the provider chooses invest 15 tokens and 2 or more users choose pay, the resulting system performance will vary between 60% and 100%. That is, although the expected system performance is 100%, the actual system performance will vary between 60% and 100% because of the fluctuations in the system performance introduced by an unexpected event. When this happens, the earnings from choosing the pay option will also fluctuate from round to round between 7 and 15 tokens. Otherwise, the system performance is at 50% or below, and a user will earn 5 tokens as his or her benefit. The provider receives the tokens from the users who choose the pay option to the public water supply in the area. At the same time, the provider has 2 options regarding how much to invest in the system. The provider can choose invest 5 tokens. In this case, the provider's earnings will be the tokens remaining after the 5 tokens are subtracted from the tokens collected from the users. Alternatively, the provider can choose invest 15 tokens. In this case, the provider's earnings will be the tokens remaining after the 15 tokens are subtracted from the tokens collected from users. Note also that the provider's earnings cannot be less than 0 in this experiment. Let's illustrate the provider's perspective with 2 examples. Suppose that 3 users choose pay. Then the provider receives 30 tokens from the 3 users. If the provider chooses invest 5 tokens, then the provider earns 25 tokens. Another example. Suppose that 2 users choose pay and 1 user chooses exit. Then the provider receives 20 tokens from the users who choose pay. If the provider chooses invest 15 tokens, the provider earns 5 tokens. Please note that there's a time constraint for the decision making in each round. Both the users and the provider need to make a decision within 1 minute. If you don't decide within 1 minute, you will see a warning message. If you need more time, you can click the continue button in the warning message to get an additional minute to make your decision. If you don't make any decision after this additional time, you will be removed from the experiment. That concludes our brief explanation of this decision exercise. Great work! Before starting, we would like to test your own understanding of this decision exercise with a short quiz. You will also have the opportunity to play 2 practice rounds. After the practice rounds, you and 3 other players would play the first set of rounds of this decision exercise.